Years ago, back in the 80s when I was lieutenant governor of the state, nobody wanted to come to Reno. Reno's no longer a secret. Everybody's found out about Reno now. They come here for the quality of life we have.
We currently have a $160 million investment in the Montage. With the Fitzgerald, we'll probably be very close, and other acquisitions, close to $250 million. We would not be making this investment if it were not for the belief that we have as developers that this community gets it.
I love the small town atmosphere. It is the biggest little city, but you don't feel like you're living in a huge metropolis. And I've lived in some large cities, so I like the small town atmosphere.
There was a deliberate plan by primarily City of Reno Council starting about 20 years ago. Those plans and blueprints and such have pretty much stayed in place regardless of the changes on the City Council.
Showing remarkable leadership and creativity, the cities of Reno and Sparks in particular recognized that it was in their interest economically to do the right thing environmentally, and they initiated with their own public funds a river restoration program to try to recover some of these damages.
You know, Art Town really started that, and the fact that that was an initiative started by the City of Reno makes me really proud, because the city realized it needed to diversify and it wasn't going to wait for the public to push it and then jump on the bandwagon. They built the bandwagon.
And if you ask John Q. Public, there is no master plan, but there is a master plan.
Going from a downtown that didn't exist to a downtown that's really thriving. And that really was precipitated by the, the construction of the Century Theaters. Everybody knew if we could put something down there.
Back in '96, when we had the first Art Town Festival, we wondered if people would come back downtown. And one by one, we saw families coming down Arlington, carrying their kids and their picnics to Wingfield Park. And it was so nice to see that, because truly, people were reclaiming their city.
And then once the Riverside put its focus onto the river, all of a sudden the Riverwalk started to make sense, and it started to look right, and I think the rest of the downtown corridor kind of grew up around it.
This river restoration project is it's helping with water quality and economic development. It's helping with wildlife recovery. It's helping provide recreational opportunities for our community. So it demonstrates a willingness of many parties to look beyond their narrow interests and to band together for a larger goal that serves each of their particular interests, but actually winds up providing a much bigger benefit for the community as a whole.
The ReTrack project went to great lengths to preserve and protect these buildings during the construction process. I've been in the historic preservation business for a number of years, and it was probably one of the most successful historic preservation projects, where you're involving state and local and federal governments and preservation factions that I've ever experienced.
What they've developed here now is a downtown that has a great feel to it, the river environment and all the efforts from the kayaking park to the infrastructure there. The convention center, I have to say, is absolutely phenomenal what they've done with that. I'm working to bring the International Science Fair here in 2009. We've been selected to do that. And the development of all the casinos and opening that up and having more resort-like activities here, that plus the businesses that are developing here and the spirit of bringing those businesses to work together, I think has just made it an exciting place for people to come.
Unless we're going to stop making babies, unless we're going to prohibit people from moving into areas, we're going to have growth. It's going to go somewhere. It just needs to be done properly.
The city does have plans in place to control growth. The ability for the city to grow and to accommodate pressures from new developers and folks who want to move here is clearly tied to its ability to provide infrastructure to support it. And when I'm talking infrastructure, I'm talking sewer and water.
If I want to submit a project, I have to have the water. There are no rubber stamps, okay? If you think there's rubber stamps, go to a council meeting. Go to the planning committee. Listen to the questions, okay? How in-depth they are.
I think it's a combination perhaps of people who lived here a while recognizing that it's like a teenager's feet, they're going to grow. And if you're going to, then rather than just saying, no, let's not do anything, they realize we can shape what we do. And I think a part of it is the new people who've come here who expect it to grow. People who had kids here who want them to have opportunities.
I think that the city is very aggressive. I think that that's what they need to be. I think it's very planned out. And I think, again, you have a council which is made up of people that reside here, that are born and raised here, that care, and that listen to the constituents, but also know what's required to really take this city to the next level.
It does take a lot of partnerships, and the city and the county and Sparks have been working out a lot of difficult and challenging issues with respect to land use.
Communities thrive when you have the right kinds of partners coming to the table and everybody contributing. Here in Reno, we've certainly seen that with government who funded the arts through Art Town at the very beginning, sponsors who took a chance on joining that partnership, the artists themselves, and certainly the community. Everybody invested in this partnership.
We're small, and we really support one another. So if you look at the Chamber of Commerce, you look at EDON, you look at any of the business entities, you look at the cities, they're all partners in it. And we have to work together because we're competing against other cities.
We're all in this together. We want this to be the kind of community that you would want to bring your kids up in and that your kids would want to stay in.
I certainly hope that the bus rapid transit system is up and working and thriving, and that the zoning that the city has put in place in its Todd corridor for mixed use on South Virginia and Mill Street and West 4th Street and all the way up North Virginia, all the way into Stead, actually has resulted in a significant amount of mixed use and high-rise residential to support that bus rapid transit.
We very much would like to see mixed-use facilities between downtown and the university. Facilities that might have suites, hotels, bookstores, art shops, to create a college town environment which we believe would not only enhance the quality of the university and its attractiveness, but would be another asset to the city of Reno and really to greater Reno.
That everybody views this as the environmental center, that there's environmental companies here, there's an emphasis on clean energy, an emphasis on sustainability, and we set this community up as a world-renowned site for that type of activity.
The mistakes that we made in the 60s, I don't think we're likely to make again. I think we're probably going to honor this river. I don't think we're going to lose sight of its importance ever again.
We're continuing to add to a thriving city. Whether it's a baseball stadium, whether it's the zeal of somebody who sees the future of this city, the excitement of what Reno can be years from now is very obvious here, and it makes it a fun place to live.
People want to come live in the quality of life we have here. They love the outdoors. They love the skiing, the golf, the bicycles. We have it all. Where else can you catch a fish in downtown? Reno, Nevada.